What makes a mother? Some characteristics that come to my mind are love, understanding, infinite patience, reassurance, care and affection, forgiveness, compassion, laughter and wisdom. My mother had all of these things and more. Wilma Elizabeth Jane Cotter was born in Ararat, Victoria on the 15th of March 1925. She would have been 90 next March. She was the daughter of William and Mary Cotter. One of 7 children, now only 2 remain. As Annie Knoll says, they moved up the pecking line and who's going to be next? Mum was very smart. As a child, she was given a scholarship to Loreto Ballarat, but was unable to take it up due to the war. Her father had lost his job on the railways, and she was needed to go to work to have put food on the table for the family. In the 60s, she went to Newcastle University to complete the Bachelor of Visual Arts. She painted, she made terrible pottery, but she did make some nice rugs, which are still on our floor today. She made all sorts of crafty things, and she really loved doing it. But most of all, she loved her family. She was extremely proud of her 4 daughters, Carol, Irene, Cheryl, and me. Only the oldest and the youngest are left. She was always saying that she couldn't bear to lose another child while she was alive. So we give Carol a big thanks for hanging in there again this year. We're not allowed to drop off the perch anytime soon, though. She boasted regularly about her 13 grandchildren and her 15 great-grandchildren. And as I said, she's just missed out on meeting her first great-grandchild that was due in December. Every one of them was exceptional. No one was ever ordinary. She drove us mad with everyone being the smartest, the prettiest, the most talented child ever born. Many of them are here today, and we really thank you for making the effort to come down. Mum had a very colourful history, one that was always shrouded in mystery. She never wanted me in particular to know that her past was far from perfect. She had 3 significant men in her life, but the saviour was the last one, Wilma Atkins. He describes Mum as the love of his life. They met in 1954 and married in 1966. He remembers the day they met, the dress she wore, young, vibrant, beautiful, and with the most lovely white smile. I think that was a lucky day for our family. Dad gave us stability, love and support. However, he could never tame her wanderlust. We moved constantly, Mum always looking for something or somewhere better. She sadly never found it, and I hope she's found it now. Who could forget her constant dieting? She would get very cross when Dad would say, imagine how big she'd be if she didn't go on a diet. Her reading out loud, her constant quotes from the Woman's Weekly, or her obsession with Days of Our Lives in the Bold and Beautiful. Mum was also terrified of lightning. Kate found her one day stuffed into our tiny little pantry with the dog shivering together, and she said it was the only place she could find without windows, that was the safest place to be. In the later years, she'd seen these calls on the phone and been ringing up everyone in the family to see if it was you who'd rung her. She must have spent a fortune on phone calls. Or her big win with Reader's Digest. She thought she had won a lot of money, and this caused everyone a lot of trouble. She couldn't understand why we weren't very excited for her. She was constantly saying that Dad just didn't want her to have any money, and was heard to say, look at him, he's losing weight. He's scared I'll dump him for another woman when I get mine. Another man when I get my money. She also at one stage sent Dad off to get an Alzheimer's test, because it wasn't her that was going a bit funny, it was him. And of course he came back having passed with 100%. But she still didn't believe it wasn't him. It all sounds so funny, but it's very sad. The last few years have been a trying time for everyone, with Mum's increasing dementia and other health issues. Her sparkle had left her. Thank God for Dad. No one could have cared for her better. He has the patience of a saint. She abused him daily, accusing him of being out at the club every night, stealing her money, moving things so that she couldn't find them, and she never let him out of her sight. And don't forget all about those mistresses he had as well. But Dad loved her till the end. I feel very alone with Mum's passing. You only have one mother. We always look out for each other. I know that she doesn't need me anymore, but she's left behind some people who do. And I know that she can't care for me anymore. But again, she's left behind people who can. I know that God is taking good care of her. I know that we'll be okay because she's trained us well. She's me. Death came looking for Mum on many occasions over the last few months. God finally said, no, this time I'm serious, I'm taking you now. Oops. Thank God for taking her quickly and painlessly at home and not afraid. She's at peace now, hopefully young and healthy again. We are left behind feeling sad and lost, but she wouldn't want that. Hopefully our grief will ease soon and we'll remember the strong, vibrant lady who was the life of the party.
A tribute from two women's granddaughters, Natalie and Michelle.
Maybe I'll think you're taking off now. That's okay. Nat and I would just like to say a few words about Grandma on behalf of our brothers Brendan, Chris, Aaron, their wives, and our 12 beautiful children that we have between us all. It's hard to say goodbye to somebody that you've loved and admired all your life. Grandma to me was that one person that I naturally just thought would be forever. She wasn't your typical grandmother who baked cakes and crocheted doilies, although she was amazing at those things. In fact, she was amazing at everything she put her hand to. In my eyes, she was the cool grandma. When you're 13 and your grandma takes you to see Village People Can't Stop the Music movie and then takes you back to see it again the very next day because she wanted to come and see it again, that's when you think she's pretty cool. There's been many moments in life over the years, and although we lived in Queensland and didn't see as much of her granddad as we would have liked, they definitely made an effort whenever they could be there for us. They always came bearing gifts and it would be the highlight of our year when we knew they were coming. They'd always been known to drop everything and drive to Queensland just to babysit my children and came to my rescue a couple of times during those horrible morning sickness days. The distance didn't matter to them. I think they probably have shares in the Pacific, New England and your highways by now. Even this year, they still made the trip, which was probably a bit crazy, but still unbelievable. Grandma Wilma had a very long and colourful life, and some of my greatest memories will be of the times we just sat for hours and she told me stories of her past and stories about our beautiful Mum Irene. I will be passing these stories on to my children. And hopefully we will one day come across that all famous book that she's always been told us she had written everything in. Although apparently a couple of my entries are in red, but I'm sure I'm not the only one that's in there in red. Anyway, no one messed with my grandma, and every man or woman that came into our lives had to be approved by her first. She wasn't always happy with our choices, but she loved us unconditionally regardless. Mind you, she always let them know if she didn't approve, just to keep them on their toes. Grandma was always full of energy and always the life of the party. She enjoyed nothing more than sitting and having chanters with you and speaking her words of wisdom. Although there were many, the one I've taken through life with me was she told me to always hold your head high and know how beautiful you are, and other people will always see you as beautiful inside and out. In Grandma's eyes, all of her children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren were beautiful. My last memory of Grandma was only a few months ago. At her house, I was standing in her kitchen making her a banana and honey sandwich, and I turned to her and she was staring and smiling at me, and I said, "What, Grandma?" And she just said, "My beautiful chef." I wish now I'd known that was the last thing time I was going to see her. We love you, Grandma. Our lives will never be the same without you. You'll be terribly missed by all of us and never ever forgotten.
I'm not going to repeat a lot of what was said by Anne Billy. These are my recollections of my grandmother. Where do I start? Grandmother Wilma, Wiggy, as I sometimes called her. Well, here are a few words that I think describes Grandma. Youthful, beautiful, defiant, headstrong, protective, loyal, life of the party, artistic, flamboyant, intriguing, vivacious and loving. Grandma was always beautiful and youthful looking. I even remember the day my partner Craig met her. I could see Grandma and Grandad walking towards me to meet us for dinner in Brisbane, and I said to Craig, "Here comes my grandparents." He was astounded. He said, "No way." He said, "Look at you and Nan trotting along like Paris Hilton." Yeah, she always looked way younger than her years, and she had a pair of legs on her like a 20-year-old, even in her 80s. Grandma was young at heart. Many times I recall she was being one of the last to leave the party. At Chris's wedding, we asked Grandma and Grandad to come to the pub after the wedding where we were all staying. I think it was about 3 a.m. in the morning, and I was just had to go off to bed. Grandad had long retired, so I asked Grandma if she was ready to go. She said, no, I'll stay on a little bit longer. So as I was leaving, all I could hear was her on the microphone singing, "I did it my way." And so another time, Grandma and Grandad and Auntie Carol, we went for a week's stay in Tamworth for the Country Music Festival. They were trying to teach volunteer line dancing, and they were trying to break history books with the biggest group of line dancers ever. Auntie Carol and I were watching the parade the next day, and here comes Grandma and my best friend Kim trotting along in the front of the line dancing. And then another time Christopher and myself had combined 21st and 18th, and my friends had ordered a Flim Flams stripper singing telegram. Much to my surprise, well, quite a lot of the oldies at the event were shocked and went outside whilst my telegram was delivered. Not my grandma. She was right up the front with the camera yelling out to me, "Nat, does he take it all off?" And all my mates were saying, "How cool's your name?" Grandma was always on the go, like Auntie Billy said. I don't think any of them were warranted or any of them were successful. Maybe because her willpower, when it came to the crunch, would just crumble, especially when you're offered to buy her ice cream or any dessert or type of sweet. At Aaron's wedding at the Crowns Plaza, they had a smorgasbord, and while for the dessert she said, "I'm trying all of them, since my grandson's paying." So here she trots back with every single dessert that you could have. Well, that was her diet for the weekend, just going right out the door. Grandma was a great conversationalist. Many times I recall sitting up very late talking stories of her younger years and filling me in with the history of her family members. And I think that gene has carried down through the family of the likes of Auntie Carol and Michelle. Grandma was also a lover of movies, music and reading. She had books wherever she travelled, and I not one book. She would take a whole bag of books with her. She loved anything to do with the arts, from drawing, painting, sewing, making pottery. I even have a few of her pieces of pottery and scars which she gave me. I'll treasure these priceless items. She was a loyal grandmother. She always travelled the countryside with Granddad, attending the great events and milestones of our lives, from 21st to births to wedding celebrations. No matter how far the distance, they always would attend. So Grandma, the day has come where I have to bid you farewell. Your memory will hold a place in our hearts forever. No words will ever convey exactly what you mean to us. So go and be with your daughters Cheryl and Irene and your grandson Raymond and your other loved ones, and keep watching over us as you always do until we all meet again. We love you and goodbye.
Thank you, Natalie and Michelle. Now, Wilma's sister Nova would like to share with us a few words.
Good afternoon. I'm very happy to see so many people here today to pay tribute to my sister Wilma. If you don't know me, I'm her younger sister Noelle. Leonie couldn't come for reasons unknown. Wilma was the best sister I could have ever asked for. Wilma was 10 years older than me and was always very kind and caring toward me. As a little girl, I remember when I needed a dress to sing in, it was Wilma who always made sure that I had that dress and that I went to sing. She was still caring for me when I had a very very serious illness about 20 years ago. She came down to Melbourne to see me, and her solution, she and Ray went shopping and brought home a karaoke machine and a Bette Midler and Barbara Streisand CD, said, go and sing and get better. Her compassion and love did not stop there. In the late 70s, our eldest sister Shirley, who was 18 months older than Wilma, was stricken with a stroke, and she was totally unable to care for herself. Wilma, and of course Ray, sold up and came back to Victoria to care for Shirley. They purchased the Black Stump service station and cafe in Ravenswood outside Bendigo, and while Ray attended to the passing motor trade, Wilma ran the cafe while caring for Shirley, which would have been a challenge even for a professional. But Wilma did it, and she did it well. Later on, and eventually, Shirley had to be institutionalised. Wilma was heartbroken. I think she felt she had failed. Not so, Wilma. Wilma was such a happy wanderer. The next town, the next house, was always going to be the best, and I would never leave it, she would say. Then suddenly, the grass was greener on the other side of the street. I said to her once, if I had £1 for every house you've ever lived in, I'd be very wealthy. She thought that was funny because she loved to move all the time. Pardon me. Wilma loved life and always had a radiant smile. As a little aside here, which I never wrote down, everyone always remembers Wilma for her smile. It was a lovely smile. But she had her tragedies too, and she bore them very courageously. My sister loved a good laugh, so it is only fitting that I now include a few famous quips, plagiarising naturally. I'm always relieved when someone is delivering a eulogy and I realise that I'm listening to it. I thought that was a good one. And then Garrison Keller said, they say such nice things about you at funerals that it makes me sad to think that I'm going to miss mine by just a few days. And then to quote Bob Monkhouse, I want to die like my father, peacefully in his sleep, not screaming and terrified like his passengers. So I hope these very bad jokes have made you and Wilma smile. Now that I'm well into plagiarising, I would like to conclude with a poem that was put on the internet the day that Wilma died. Those special memories of you will always bring a smile. If only we could have you back for just a little while. Then we could sit and talk again, just like we used to do. You always meant so very much, and always will do too. The fact that you're no longer here will always cause me pain. Sorry. But you're forever in my heart until we meet again. Wilma, you always were my hero, and yes, Michelle, I called her Wiggy all my life, and everyone used to say, why do you call her that? So, Vale, Wiggy, thank you.
Thank you, Noah. It's very healthy today to not only shed some tears, but to be able to laugh and to smile as you remember those good and happy times shared with Wilma. The next tribute is from Wilma's granddaughter, Shirley Jane.
I'd just like to share a letter that I've written to Grandma. What do you find? Dear Grandma, well, that day has finally came, the day we used to speak about on many occasions. You would always say, I would always say, Grandma, you're going to live forever. And her reply would be, no, my darling, we all have to die one day. And when it's my turn to go, we'll cry. Sorry. Oh, okay, no, I'm okay. Yeah, okay, thank you. I just try not to shake. Just, jeez. Yeah.
And so today we're trying to honour your wishes, but we had to hold back tears as we speak with you and remember our special times together. I remember when I was young and you taught me how to swim. You might remember this, Brenda. When you walked me to the end of the journey down at the lake and you told me to jump off. And then you yelled, start moving your arms. So, miraculously, I managed to stay above water. And thanks to you today, I am now a confident swimmer. I remember when you helped me with my school sewing project. The teacher gave me 10 out of 10, even though she knew I couldn't sew to save my life. And then there would be times I'd come and visit you and Granddad, and you would paint my face with Carmine lotion and say, that'll clear those pimples up. And I'd be walking around all day with a pink face. I really enjoyed those long talks we would have about the spirit world. We had so many great stories to tell. Whether they were true or not, I always loved hearing them. I always admired your strength and wisdom. You never held back. You always spoke the truth and never beat around the bush. You had a smile that light up the room, a vibrant personality and a heart of pure gold. There are so many things I will miss about you, Grandma. Your warm hand that held mine, your love of colour that always showed in the clothes you wore, your matching handbags and shoes. Listening to you read out the horoscopes for the day for everyone. So many things, Grandma. And then there was that laugh. I'll never forget that. Now I'd like to thank you, Grandma, for always being there for me through thick and thin, loving me unconditionally as you did for your grandchildren. Now it's time to say goodbye to you for the last time. You may be gone, but you will never be forgotten. I will miss you deeply. You're one of a million. So may God hold you in his arms until we meet again. Goodbye.
Thank you, Shonda Jane. Now a tribute from the generation of Wilma's great-grandchildren to be given by Madison.
Today is a very sad day as we come to say goodbye to our beautiful Ma. I want to tell you just a few of the things that made Ma so special. Ma loved all of her grandchildren and great-grandchildren, and you were always telling us what the others were doing and achieving. You would speak with pride about all of us and would remind us that we were capable of anything. You always held centre stage when you were talking, and we loved hearing you tell your stories of when you were growing up and all the things you and Pa had done. I don't know how many houses Ma lived in, but it was a lot. Ma said it was a gypsy in her. But while in Newcastle, they always seemed to live near the lake. We love this because when Sister and I visited, Ma and Pa would take us for walks and swimming, often spending hours around the water. Ma also said she had psychic abilities. This would scare Sister and I, as Ma said she always knew what we were thinking and we had to behave ourselves. I remember the beautiful paintings you painted, and you always encouraged us to express ourselves. You and Pa always made time to visit us no matter where you lived, often driving late at night to return home, but this didn't bother you. I remember the wonderful Christmases we would spend with you at Uncle John's and Auntie Billy's. We would eat and laugh and eat some more and more and more. Ma always had Pa by her side. They were inseparable and always demonstrated love and respect to each other. You always had the most beautiful smile, spoke with poise and dressed so elegantly. You aged so gracefully and were always beautiful. I hope I can age as beautifully as you. Things I know. I know you love pink. That is why we are all wearing pink today. I know we will all miss you. I know we will we will always love you. And we all love you so much, Ma. Thank you.